Hey there, music makers. Nothing is more frustrating and confusing for a lot of people, teachers and students alike, than the note F on the recorder. And so today we're going to tackle that along with a little bit of why. So make sure you stick around. We've got a really cheesy meme example of a song for it later on too. So stick around. First, let's talk about where F is on the staff so you know which note is F and which note is not F. So if I have my handy dandy super fancy thing here, let me back it out a little bit. There we go. You can see there are actually two Fs on the treble clef. Treble clef is this swirly thing. And then over here we have two notes. Now, the bottom space is going to be your F. All right, this is the F that you'll see most of the time. There's also another F right up here at the top. There it is. And it sits on the top line. So if you play high F, that's something different. We'll talk about that in a different video. But for today, we're going to talk about low F. Let's get to it. Let's talk about how to finger the F on our recorder. And it's confusing because it doesn't make logical sense to many of us. So if we're doing our note B, thumb on the back, pointer on top, this is B, left hand on top, of course. Then we're going to add the next finger for A, add our next finger for G, and now we want to add the next finger, now with our right hand, we now want to add our pointer finger for F, but it doesn't work on this style of recorder, which is a Baroque recorder. I'll talk about why we call it a Baroque recorder and the other type of recorder later on, but let's get to the note. We can't go like this, it's out of tune. That's supposed to be like hot cross buns. No. Oh, so much better. All right, so here's what it is. Here's what it looks like. First, let me talk you through it. So I have my left hand on top.
Left hand on top.
Thumb on the back. Pointer finger on the top. Middle finger on the second hole. Ring finger on the third hole. Now I'm going to switch hands. I never use my left hand pinky. And now I'm going to switch hands, use my pointer finger on the top hole. I'm skipping the middle finger, the second finger with your right hand. And I'm going to cover up the next two with my ring and pinky. So it's everything, including the thumb, except for this middle one here. And this is how you correctly finger F. Some teachers will leave off the pinky as a way to make it easier and transfer to high F better. The pitch difference is very slight, but it is there. So I encourage you, if you can, to try to use that pinky, especially if you want to play it the right way. So this is low F. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. Other hand, 4. Skip, 5, 6, 7. Or everything except for the middle finger. Here it is the wrong way. Oh, drives me nuts just to say it. Here's another way of looking at it. With my amazing drawing skills. Doesn't that look exactly like a recorder? I know, you think it does too. All right, so we've got my amazing recorder. This is the top where the window is. I go down, this hole on the side is the thumb hole. It's colored in, so it's covered. Then we have 1, 2, 3, and that's dotted line is where we're switching hands. Other hand, 4, skip 5, 6, and 7. This is just another way to look at it. Oh, and by the way, I do have, and I'll link it in the description below, an awesome fingering chart for the basic notes on recorder, which includes this one on my website, Dynamic Music Room. So make sure you go check that out in the description or search Easy Recorder Fingering Chart and you'll find it there too. Either way, you'll find it. Don't worry. So let's talk about the different types of recorder. There's two types of recorder, designs of recorder, I should say. And those are Baroque and German recorders. I don't have a German recorder. Baroque is by far the most common. I'm not saying Baroque. Baroque. Cheesy, I know. I'm not saying broke recorder. I'm saying Baroque recorder. And this is what we play. This is where we get this fancy fingering for F. There is another style of recorder called a German recorder, where F is played, thumb, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you might be like, whoa, why don't we just use that all the time? That is so much easier for kids. That's so much easier for me. And it is at first. It is easier at first, but it's not easier in the long run. If you go anywhere beyond playing F, if you want to play an F sharp, If you want to do any other accidentals or any other more advanced notes, then you are going to want to stick with the Baroque recorder. Because if you think about it, here's F sharp. Ooh, that's super hard, right? No, this is B flat, one of these two. Okay, that's not that hard. And E flat uses the half hole down here and stuff like that. And I'll talk about those notes in other videos. But on German recorders, yes, this becomes easier because this is F, but all of those other notes are like all over the place fingering wise. They are so much more complicated. And even the notes that are down here for low E, D, and C are slightly, very slightly out of tune. But anybody with a decent ear is going to be able to hear it. And so those two reasons alone, plus these are way cheaper and a lot more available, the Baroque ones, that is, that makes me think that, hey, it's going to be way, way better to stick with the Baroque recorder. Let's put F in the context of a song. Okay, so there's this one, and I'm going to make a separate video on this whole song and how to play it, but My Heart Will Go On, the classic Titanic recorder meme song, the terrible one. The verse section of it is just jam-packed with F naturals, and I will have the notation show up over here. So that's pretty cool. And the notation's showing up for you now, hopefully. And you just see, boom, it's just jam-packed with F naturals. It's crazy. So this would be an excellent example of an excellent song to practice while learning this low F for anybody. Here's what it sounds like. Kind of nice, but yeah, it's a recorder, and it's kind of low on this recorder. It would probably sound better if I played it on my alto, but this wouldn't be the same fingering, and that's what we're focusing on. Now, just as a demonstration, let me play it for you if we were playing F the cheater way, the wrong way, where we play it with just the first finger on the right hand. Oh. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. You might have seen like funny videos of people being really dramatic as they play the recorder with this song. That's what they did. They played it with the cheater F, and they're like, man, it sounds terrible. Well, duh. A, well, they wanted it to sound terrible. And B, you're playing it with the wrong fingering. Oh my gosh, it's just crazy. So that was low F on recorder. I hope you liked it. Now, high F, we'll talk about in a different video. And high F is a note that we're going to use the half hole technique. But if you kind of want some information on the half hole technique, boom, the I, wherever that is going to talk about how to play high E on recorder. And then once that goes away, high F exists in the context with the song Silent Night, which I've also done an instruction video on, which pops up under whatever I hear. So if you can't tell, we're doing tons of recorder stuff, music teaching stuff, and I love it, and I'm super excited for doing it and sharing this information with you. So, I mean, you don't want to miss anything big that's coming up. Make sure you subscribe and all that jazz. And until next time, keep on playing.